Hi, guys. We got Ben today, recruiting mentor extraordinaire. This guy is brilliant. Super excited to have him. Ben, if you could just start with how you got started in this, what your journey has been through launching your own recruiting company to doing recruiting training and mentoring.
Yeah, well, it's gonna have to be a long story short, man. So I guess I could say I started life like everybody else does, right? Working a 9 to 5 job, right? You kind of graduate, you end up where you end up. Originally, I was in construction management. My degree is in political science. I mean, just things are all over the board. I ended up at a sales company. I was doing digital sales, digital marketing sales, things like that. And then I went into SaaS sales, selling software. And then it ended up working at Microsoft for the Bing Maps division of all
Sexy.
places. Have you ever,
Mhm.
was the last time you Binged something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So long ago.
So long.
Super long ago. So you can imagine how boring working there was.
Mhm.
And any one of my former coworkers that checks this out will totally agree on that. But yeah, no. So it was really, when I worked at Microsoft, was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. And it was where I had always been an entrepreneur, right? And so I always had the voice, right? The voice, the feeling, whatever, that kind of pushes you, right? And at Microsoft, it's such a behemoth, it's so big and boring that I literally could not get rid of this bug. And I finally just one day kind of snapped, not in a bad way, right? Didn't do any office space
Yeah.
stuff, but I was like, I'm gonna start a recruiting agency. I'm gonna do it. And so basically I did it at work, not gonna lie at all, because it was so boring. I had 6 hours of free time all day long, every day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
You know, it's funny you say that. I had condensed my work down to like 4 hours. At a
Yeah.
previous job, I was like, I'll just do 4 hours of this, and then I'm going to go work out for 2 hours in the middle of the day.
Right.
Build my private practice on the side. We good.
There you go. Right. Put priorities first. So that's exactly what I did. I said, forget it. And I went in and just basically, I did like 80% of things on my phone. And I was cold emailing. I was, building up, all sorts of things that I needed. And then at night, of course, I would start setting things up. And I really rapidly built my agency. And I don't think people realize a lot that you can start something pretty quickly, like website, business email, you know what I mean? The core basics, right? Getting all that done. That's like a couple of days and you're up and running.
Let me ask you to pull it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Why recruiting? You know what I mean? It's like, what made you, you're kind of a natural entrepreneur. You're looking out there, you're looking at a lot of different things. Did you have some conversations? Like what was that decision process like for you?
Yeah, so it's super random, and I know we were just talking here before we hopped on, that recruiters are just natural connectors, and that's what I am, right? So like if there's somebody that I know that needs to know somebody else for whatever reason, I'm not going to be the what's the lady that does the
matchmaker. Oh, Patty.
millionaire matchmaker.
Yeah,
I'm not Patty, but
Okay.
I'll connect two people, right? It's
Yep.
in my nature. It's just
Same.
why not, right?
Yep.
And it's kind of for the greater good. So I feel like that definitely is in my blood. But also I had a bunch of friends that worked at Robert Half, Aerotech, all the big, devilish conglomerates, right? And so, with these big companies, right, when they pay you nothing and give you a little bit of commish, I was like, well, I had friends that did that. They kind of told me about what they were doing. But honestly, I can tell you, wholeheartedly, I really didn't have a clue, what exactly you did to actually run a recruiting agency. I just kind of knew that I could do it. And I had a little bit of experience previously just doing referral bonuses and referring people into some previous companies I worked for.
You know, that reminds
Yeah.
me of how key like confidence is, this belief in yourself and this belief that you can do something.
100%, totally. So, like I was telling you before, like being an entrepreneur, like my whole life, like I had an eBay store. I was flipping iPhones on Craigslist, like you name it. Like it was total entrepreneur, like garbage level stuff. It just, making no real money, no awesome money. But eventually, right, when I stepped into like my highest self, right, when you finally stepped into your high, when you finally get to step into your highest self, that's when you realize I can do this. Like this is something I can do, and and I'm gonna keep doing it, rinse and
Let me
repeat.
let me ask you, Ben, was there fear there and or, anxiety, and if there was, like, kind of tell me, how you dealt with it, or was that just not there? Were you just like, look, not worried about what I don't know what I don't know. I just know that I'm a capable person and I can make it happen.
Yeah, it was more of the latter. Yeah, it was definitely more of the latter, where it was just, hey, resourcefulness over resources. That was it, right? So, how do I need to get a contract over to somebody? Boom, just grab a contract, off the internet, figure it out, write it up, make sure all the clauses are in there. How do I get it to them? Okay, DocuSign, got to buy that. Let's get that, right? Put the pieces in place, right? And get the operation running smooth. Start writing some email templates, set things up, build them up. Figure out, what kind of industries you're going to hire quickly. That for me was warehouse, logistics, transportation, and just started getting these contracts, right? My first contract that I ever filled was an administrative assistant for an HVAC company, $4,000. I was like, cool, that's what I take home in a month. I was like, all right. My next contract after that, though, which is crazy, and this is what really got me like super addicted, is they needed 10 drivers for their operation, and each driver was $3,700. So I walked away with 37 grand on that
Whoa.
deal. That was my second
Yeah.
deal ever. And I was like, okay, we're going to keep this going, and so that really amped me up.
Yeah, that's huge. Walk me through kind of, what you did. Like, how long did it take for you to get your first couple of contracts? What was your kind of approach to it? It sounds like you got it pretty dialed in, so I'm interested to hear.
This is that's a awesome question, because so many people, and I say this so much, undervalue themselves by like what I believe to be about 50%. They cut themselves like right here in the middle. And they're like, I can only do this. I can just be this W-2 and just give me my health insurance and then I'm good, right? But overall, you can do so much more. You're so much more capable than you think you are. Everyone has to know that. Like speaking directly into the computer camera here now, right? But ultimately, no, it was just a matter of putting pen to paper and saying, okay, I'm assured that I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to go ahead and how do I find these candidates? Craigslist. Okay. Get some hits on Craigslist. Oh, Indeed's performing a little bit better. I'm going to put my money there. Okay. Awesome. Right. Obviously, you got to have a little startup
Trial
capital.
and error. Trial and error.
Trial and error, right? Trial and error. So a little trial and error going on. And then, of course, my ultimate like claim to fame, or at least I'm proud of it, is making $100,000 in my first 6 months. And that was a bunch of trial and error. But for a lot of people, I think that, for them to make like $100,000, as a newbie or a startup or whatever, it's like, that might take me like a year and a half. Like, but realistically, like that could take people 3 months now, like with so many tools and training out there.
Yeah, what made you focus on the warehouse, and why did you pick that? I mean, there's a lot of different avenues to go down. Was that something that you were familiar with, that you'd worked in before, or what?
Not at all. Not at all. Quick, easy wins is what it was.
Yep. Super important when you're starting out, because then you get like that confidence built and growing and like these wins under your belt, and like super critical when you're teaching it to others too. Like where can they have the fast, easy, quick wins?
So much. You said it perfectly. So I put it in 3 ways, right? So what I tell people is I say your first win does 3 things. Number 1, you're going to get $5,000 making a fill. All right. Right. Number 2, guess what? You just learned a full life cycle recruit. So you just did it. Now you can go do that 100,000 more times. And number 3, the mental confidence boost that comes from cashing that check, right? It's just going to lift you on to just rinse and repeat and keep going. But you've got to be the kind of person that plays the long game. You can't just be happy, right, with the one fill. Like if you're really wanting to build out, you know, a practice, an agency, a business, you've got to be comfortable going for the long game.
Yeah, and when you launch, Ben, 100 cold emails a day, 200 cold calls, not cold calling. Like what was your strategy when you first, you know, it sounds like you like blitzkrieged it and just like were like, I'm on this. So yeah, I'm curious.
Blitzkrieg, cold email, 100 per day, not touching the phone whatsoever until I got a warm conversation going on email. That's the strategy I've gone with. That's the strategy I teach. I think 2020, we're about to be 2021. The phone is semi on life support as far as cold call. I know there's specific people that will definitely argue with me till the cows come home about that. And that's fine because what works for whoever. But in my basket, it's like get it comfortable digitally and then hop on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm of the same mind. I mean, I've got mentors that, you know, they do a lot of cold calling. And for me, I mean, you can do it however you want it. For me, I've never gotten a cold call and been like, dude, I am so excited that this person called me.
Right. Yeah.
Never. Like never. Just
100%.
Yeah, just like put yourself in the buyer's journey. It's like, no, man, if you've sent me good communication and I've seen you and then I respond back, it's like, well, yeah, at that point I am excited that you called me.
I'm
Like,
ready
I want
to
to hear
get
from you. Yeah, I'm ready to go. And so like, and I know that other people would be like, Todd, you're dumb. And it's like, that's fine. But like, I know for me, I don't really want to waste my time talking to a bunch of people that don't want to talk to me. Like,
right. And I want to drive something home. Like as you're getting out there and you're building your business, like hear what Ben said, 100 emails a day. Like it's doable. That is totally doable.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. With the tools and the things that we have today now, I think a lot of people don't understand like 100 emails, but Ben, like, how can I do? Forget it. Like, listen, like, you know, there's plenty of ways, like there's a billion ways to skin a cat. What's the saying? I don't know. I don't care.
yeah.
But bottom line is you can do it. Right.
Yeah, it's totally doable. And then I tell other people, I'm like, dude, if you like cold calling, like more power to you. Like that's a superpower that you can lay on top of it. But it's like, dude, for sure, get your marketing dialed in, automated as much as you can. So you're setting yourself up for, you know, maximum impact when you're doing your outreach.
Definitely. Absolutely. Yeah. One of the first things that I teach and preach to students of mine that are in my program is optimizing everything online, right? Their online presence, it's got to be optimized from LinkedIn to website to your Facebook business page, et cetera, all of it, right? Down to your email sig, you know, everything has to be in line and it's got to look good because eventually how are people going to view you? That's how they view you, you know, online. And that's how they either respect you or just don't take you seriously.
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that. We're both very excited about that.
Wow. Hey, Kate, relax.
Sounds like we've
Kate.
got
Why are you so excited? Kate, what are we on? QVC here? So Ben, yeah, walk us through that journey.
Diamond tennis bracelet. No.
Yes. Walk us through that journey. So you scale, you make money super quick, you're good at it, you're excited, you finally have freedom, you finally have money in the bank, you can breathe. You decide to start, you know, teaching. What's that? Like what made you want to start doing that first?
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, first really what came is the success and the scale and all of that. And, you know, this is where I immediately, like when you mention this, I start to feel very humble, grounded because ultimately like that's not, you know, what it's all about, right? I'm not, you know, flashy about it. Like if you watch my YouTube, especially in the past, I don't know what, past 100 videos are all shot like in my second bedroom with my big, like gaudy, like big $100 bill from iconic.com. But anyways, you know, ultimately when I got into that, I started a YouTube channel first. And that was sort of just a creative outlet because I was just recruiting. and you know that's just gonna take a toll, right?
Yep.
You'll burn out. You know, you got to kind of pivot a little bit.
Hmm.
So what I did was like some tutorials, a little bit of kind of like vlogging, a little bit of like how to, like it was kind of like, you know, ultimately documenting like what I was doing too. And then in tandem, I created a Facebook group. And so that Facebook group's now almost 6,000 people large, startup recruiters. It's called Six Figure Recruiters, but it's filled with startup recruiters, to be clear.
Hmm.
So with all of that, what got me into the training is really just kind of, you know, I don't want to say the spirit called me, or I got, you know, I naturally, you know, fell towards that arena. And this is something, again, we were talking about earlier, right? You know, people have these natural, you know, affinities, and, you know, they're really just, you know, wanting to share knowledge. And that's big for me. Like, it's huge. I'll type up like a paragraph response, like to somebody in my group, just because I want them to know exactly how to do something
Yeah.
on like manta.com. Like, how random, right? Like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, here's how you can find a bunch of plumbers on manta.com, and you can go, you can make 20 grand doing this. And like, you know, I just naturally love exchanging that info,
Hmm.
so that people can benefit. And, you know, and it kind of goes like with the whole, if I could do it, hey, you can do it. And I want to share that.
Yeah, that's a beautiful space to hold for people too, man. Like they don't necessarily have a place in their lives where someone's like, you can do this, like you're competent, and I'm here to support you.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
one of the biggest parts about it too. Yeah, a lot of people don't hear that, and I think a lot of people actually, you know, it's multifaceted. I think a lot of people, one, don't hear it, and I think a lot of people secondarily don't get permission or don't give themselves permission. And you have permission to be successful.
Yes,
Like,
you do. Oh
you
my
have
gosh, it's so funny you say that. I talk to like people all the time about that. I'm like, you have to give yourself permission. Like, and
totally
what made you think that that was wrong?
right. What good are you doing playing small, right? Like, why are you playing small? Like, what good does it do for you? It hurts you, it hurts your family, it hurts everyone around you. You need to play big, like, right? Like, I think Grant Cardone always says, think bigger, right? Like, you're
Mhm.
not thinking big enough, right? And this is just a world, you know, everyone, you know, knows this concept, but think big, like set those goals like just out of reach, so that even if you miss it by an inch, you're still so much higher than you would have been before. But like, think big, play big. It does everyone around you a disservice to play small.
Mhm.
Your talents, your, you know, your ambitions, your capabilities, all of those things you need to let out of the bottle, man. To anyone listening, right? Because
Mhm.
it's really just doing a disservice to play small.
I know we're
Sorry,
all
tangent,
unique.
but
You know what I mean? Like each of us has like different gifts, different skills, different abilities. And when you choose not to believe in yourself, you are really, you're not just hurting yourself, you're actually hurting others too. So like what I'm really hearing from you, which is super cool, is that you followed this calling to teach what you discovered and to like really help people, and that when your students win, it's like another win for you.
oh god, yeah. Somebody, man, and so much has happened this week alone, which is crazy. Like 4, 5 people in my program just nailed huge wins. Somebody quit their job, is going on recruiting income 100% now, just this week and everything. And like, I'm just like lit up when that happens, because it's just incredible to watch. And my kind of theory has become like, you know, my addiction to success, because everyone really wants to be successful, right?
Mhm.
Has become seeing other people succeed, kind of,
Mm.
you know, and that's like, that's perfect, because you can always balance your own success, but you know, literally like being selfish, like we all know that giving, you know, you get back like 10x, you know, what you give. So being able to help people see other people succeed is really a benefit, selfishly, for myself, you know, almost.
I love it, man. It's so rewarding to see people that you've poured into win.
Mhm.
and like win big when like they pay off their credit cards and they pay off their student loans, and like you can just see that like they can like breathe for once, man, and like turn around and like help pull other people up, man. It's just beautiful, dude. And I mean, personally, I know I don't want to get into it too much, but I mean, I'm just proud of you and the work that you've done, and
Thank you.
watching what you've done for students and for other people out there. And it's inspiring, man. So tell me, you know, with all the things you have that you're doing right now, because I want to make sure that we really help people that are on the call right now. What are some common things that you see amongst your students, like little lessons or, you know, mindset shifts or things that you see that come up a good bit that we can talk about, so that people that are listening right now that are wanting to start can download some of the great things that you've learned?
Sure. So rule number one, stop overthinking, right? So just
Take
stop
some
thinking.
action.
Stop thinking and take some action. Yes, exactly. Kate's 100% right. Take some action. Forget about the thinking, take some action, right? Don't worry about the font on your Wix website. Get the Wix website up and live, right? You know, specifically talking about the craft of recruiting, right? Don't overthink it. Understand that you're fully capable of doing this with zero experience, because you are. Take some action, get moving, um, start getting after a niche of clients, right? Pick a niche, pick generally what I would say to be a general labor or a lower tier, low hanging fruit is what I like to, you know, say all the time. And I assume since you've watched so much of my YouTube, you
Too
know the
many.
term too well. It's probably just, yeah,
Yeah.
low hanging fruit. It's where it's at. The quick
It's
win.
key. It's those wins, you know, like it's, I've coached in many programs, and like, you got to go for those, because what happens is a total mindset shift.
Yeah, total mindset shift, right? So when you walk in and you know you just sit down and you start, you open up your computer and you're just you've got your LinkedIn, optimize your LinkedIn page, do all these little minutia, details, but at the end of the day, just freaking go for it, right? Like
Mhm.
just start sending out cold emails, start reaching out to people on LinkedIn. Obviously with training and things, like you're going to have to understand how to kind of drive this ship, right? Definitely that's a factor, because you can't just be banging down the door of Costco and trying to get a deal to service their entire operation. It's not going to happen. But bottom line is, like, you just need to take action. That's one of the biggest pieces. And execute consistently, persistently, and constantly. And if you follow those guidelines, you really can't fail. Like I tell people all the time, like recruiting is not rocket science whatsoever, but it's not simple, easy peasy. There are plenty of nuanced elements to it that you can get covered with training and
Yeah, so
and
I was going to say,
guidelines.
that's why the benefit of working with someone is so crucial. Like getting a
So cool.
mentor, working with a trainer, a coach, like absolutely, because like there are these nuances that you're not going to know. But somebody who's already been in the game and been in the game a while and been it successfully does know and can teach you.
Right. Totally. So I couldn't agree more. Like the end game, people don't understand. I have mentors, I have coaches, like that I pay, right? Like not for recruiting and stuff, but like entrepreneur coaches
Mm-hmm.
and mentors, that and advisors and people in my life that I pay, that are above me, right? Like people that make like 8 figures and 9 figures, and I go to masterminds where people are making 9 figs and they're talking about how they deliver value,
Mm-hmm.
how they operate with excellency, and all that stuff. So I get my cup filled so I can fill others' cups, right? That's how it goes. If your mentor doesn't have a mentor, don't work with that mentor.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that I always bring up. But no, people don't realize that. Like people have mentors above them, and they should, but
Absolutely.
yeah, definitely. And back to your point, right? Like, when you're able to work with someone that's been there, done it, you're cutting your learning curve probably by more than half, right? If you're working with somebody that's really good. And on top of that, you're cutting your entire trajectory of the process by more than half as well. So what would take you maybe a year can take you like 3 months.
Yeah, and I love this, man, and I want to drive this point home for everyone that's listening. Ben has mentors. I have mentors. Kate has mentors. Ben has coaches. I have coaches. Kate has coaches. Ben has taken courses. I've taken courses. Kate has taken courses. It is so important to have people to learn from. And like I would just reflect what you're saying, Ben, like in my cohort, like I'm the least successful. Like I'm the smallest. Like most people look at me like, "Oh, dude, you're killing it." But it's like in my group, I'm like the lowest man on the totem pole, couldn't get lower, you know? And it's like that's where I want to be. Like I want people that are just operating a different level and different paradigm, just like you are for your students, where you're like, dude, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you carry this, dude. I have the vision. I have the paradigm. I have the right beliefs. I'm going to help pull you up to this. And by the way, I drink my own Kool-Aid. Like I am also getting mentored by other people. It's really important. People just think like, oh, you're my mentor. And I'm like, no, dude, like I've got like 30 mentors. I got too many. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's true. And people wouldn't believe how much time, effort, energy you spend on mentors and advisors and coaches above yourself, right? Before you try to help somebody else. And that's
it's huge. It's absolutely valuable. Yeah. Like I feel more comfortable working with somebody knowing that they're part of a mastermind or part of being coached by somebody else. Cause I'm like, yeah, of course you're really good coaches have coaches, of course.
Yeah. And that's a great question. I love the screening question for them, Ben, where it's like, if you're looking at getting coached by someone or mentored, ask them if they have a coach and a mentor. And if they say yes, work with that person because they are practicing what they preach.
Totally. 100%. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You have the full capability when you're going to work with someone in any business, whatever business you're working in, screen that person, vet them. Yeah. And I 100% agree with you. Ask them, hey, how long have you been doing this? How long have you been coached in this? Do you have advisors? Do you have coaches of your own?
Yeah.
Super important.
Love
Absolutely.
it.
And I know you have a free gift, Ben. Can you share with our audience what that is? Because you're obviously like an incredible mentor.
Thank you. Far too kind. So I know you guys are dressed up for like Christmas right now, but I do have a free gift. So what I give to everyone that joins my Facebook group, which is on Facebook as Six Figure Recruiters, not to be mistaken with my page, which is Six Figure Recruiter, non-plural. But at any rate, you can click the link for the free gift, and it's what I call the Six Figure Recruiter Blueprint Startup Kit.
Oh, that's awesome.
And yeah, so basically what's in there is a couple of cold email templates, contract examples for recruiting with companies, and a whole bunch of optimal subject lines you can use on cold emails. And there's a couple cool various things in there that can actually get you started. Some stuff that I use myself to literally get to kind of to scale point almost.
Oh, that's awesome. You guys, to access that, just scroll below, click the button. And then if you return to the page when you're done, and I'll put below on that a link to Ben's group too, so you can join that as well.
Sure. And on the gift itself, you just put in your name and you enter in your email. Nothing's going to download right away. It's going to send the free gift to your email that you put in.
Perfect. Okay, cool. And then Ben, what's the number one thing you want to leave our audience with?
Yeah, it's something I said earlier before. I want to reiterate it because I just think it's so powerful. I think it's really kind of two things. I think one, you've got to stop undervaluing yourself. I know you're doing it. I know whoever's watching, I know you're doing it. Even if you're like an ace of your game, you're still doing it. Got to stop undervaluing yourself. and know that you're fully capable. You're not 50%, you're 100%. The other one, the last but not least, is that you're not doing anybody a favor by playing small. You got to play big and you got to think big. So whatever your vision is or whatever your goals are, whatever you're thinking, like 10x that and think that, and just keep that consistent, and you will reach where you want to be. I fully believe it 100%.